Warning, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Hello everybody and welcome to the Derek Ruby Show. I am your host, the previously mentioned Mr. Ruby, and this is Halloween month on the Derek Ruby Show. And since I live in the great state of Texas, I thought I would do a review on Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. So the movie starts off with a couple of guys driving down the road doing what most guys do. Drive really fast, shoot things, and prank call radio stations. Then after they drive the radio station crazy, they decide to play chicken with the truck. Then later on that evening, they prank call the radio station again. And this is Stretch, by the way, the main protagonist in the movie, but for some reason she cannot hang up the phone on these guys. I don't know about you, but I don't remember radio stations having this problem back in the day. Needless to say, these guys run across the truck again, and they start to speed away from it on a bridge, while they're still on the phone to the radio station. As they're trying to race away from the truck, this zombie-looking figure stands on top of the truck and starts revving his chainsaw. Just get a good look at that. That's what you're in for the rest of this movie. So one of the guys who just remembered he had a gun the whole time shoots the zombie in the head. But it really wasn't a zombie at all. It was LeatherFace using a corpse as a decoy, which is actually pretty smart. He destroys their car and we have our first kills for the movie.
Mr. Assholes!
The whole time this happened, they were still on the phone with the radio station who recorded the entire thing. Stretch and LT from the radio station, they just don't really know what happened. Now the next day at the scene of the accident, we meet Lefty. Lefty is Sally and Franklin's uncle from the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, and he has been trying to track down the family that was responsible for his niece's traumatic experience in South Texas, and now they're in East Texas. And of course, the local law enforcement shows up, and they don't want to make a big panic or a big scene about it, and they just keep telling Lefty it's an accident, even though it's blatantly obvious that this is no accident. So they strike a deal to shut him up and get him off the scene and help him out just a little bit.
Yes, sir. I know some old boys at the paper. We'll get your story out for you.
Brazos. Brazos.
And we see an Academy Award-winning performance as Stretch shows up to tell Lefty that she's got the murders on tape.
Look, I came here because I thought I could help you. I DJ this dumb show on KO Club in Burke Burnett, but people listen to me all across North Texas. Now I could put you on the radio, get people to believe you, get you some help.
He listens to her for a minute, but then he tells her,
I got a perfect willingness to die. That gives me a moral on this bunch of mad dogs. They live on fear. They thrive on it. I ain't got no fear left. Adios.
So yeah, the only person that was willing to help him, and he throws her out. Then the next scene at a chili cook-off shows everything blatantly wrong and stereotypical about Texans.
Dallas's favorite caterer. I think he's kind of cute. The last Roundup Rolling Grill chef, Drayton Sawyer!
I can tell you from experience that this is not true. Mostly. Needless to say, Drayton Sawyer wins the chili cook-off. The late great Jim Sedow reprised his role as Drayton, and it's a nice homage to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it's really funny that a cannibalistic person would win a chili cook-off several years in a row, because I can tell you personally, Texas is a barbecue state, my friend. Then Lefty goes into a store to buy some chainsaws, and he takes the big one outside to go test it out. And the store clerk seems to be enjoying this a lot. That's right, everybody, we're all just fucking crazy in Texas. Then Stretch meets up with Lefty, and he wants her to play the tape that she gave him on the air. We sure as hell didn't want her help earlier, but she agrees. In the meantime, Drayton's driving down the road, and he gets a call on his old school cell phone, and he's informed to turn the radio on, and this is what he hears.
Put it in there! That's fair, dude. You've done it again! Ah, you cool shit! You buttcracker! You'll be the death of me yet!
That is just an award-winning line. Let's hear it again.
You buttcracker! You'll be the death of me yet!
Next time you're pissed off at somebody, whether it's a family member, at work, or whatever, just use that line. You may get fired and some people might not want to talk to you anymore, but hey, it's a great line.
You buttcracker! You'll be the death
So Stretch gets done playing the record, and she has a little bit of an argument with LT. He shows a little bit of his jealous side, and he leaves. Then Stretch hears a noise, and she goes to the front of the radio station, and she's met with a surprising visitor. And it doesn't take her long to figure out that he probably has something to do with that tape. And as the man's about to leave, this happens. This is Chop Top Sawyer, the twin brother of Nubbins from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. LeatherFace chases Stretch down the hallway, and she's able to stop him with a fire extinguisher and lock herself behind a steel door, and he can't get to her. Then LT comes back at the wrong time, and he sees Chop Top trying to raid the radio station. And then he says this.
Hey! What the shit?
Hey, lick my plate, you dog dick!
What the fuck you think you're doing in here, you crazy looking little son of a bitch? Get out of here!
But LeatherFace takes him down, and we get our second kill for the movie.
Time for incoming mail!
And my God, they beat him for a long time. How long does it take to hammer somebody's head in? Stretch is still barricaded up in the room, but LeatherFace comes bursting through the wall, and he starts tearing everything up in there. Then, for no particular reason, he starts cutting up a cooler full of sodas and ice. And we keep cutting between shots of this and Chop Top beating in LT's head. The fucker's still alive? Then when the chainsaw stops, Stretch asks this question.
Are you mad at me?
Well, no shit. But then the weirdest thing happens. LeatherFace starts fucking her with a chainsaw while he's pleasuring himself. I'm not kidding, just look at what he's doing. Then after LeatherFace gets his jollies off, he goes ahead and lets Stretch go. Chop Top asks him if he got her, and he shakes his head yes. And they pick up LT's body to leave, and then Stretch goes outside and stands right there and watches them go. And they don't even notice her. Then she does what any sane person would do after being in a situation like that. She hops in the Jeep and then she follows them. Yep, that's what I would do if someone tried to kill me. After she trails them back to their base of operations, she parks the Jeep and gets out of it, but then another car pulls up and she starts running. And it turns out it's Lefty. Why didn't he just tell her in the first place? She's pissed off at him for not showing up, and he pretty much tells her that he used her. And he's sorry. But then Stretch falls into a hole, and Lefty, he tries to save her, but to no avail, and she sinks down and goes through a crazy-looking slide and falls for quite a distance. So as you would expect, Lefty goes back to his car and go get his chainsaws. And he enters into the compound and just starts destroying the place. For a very, very long time throughout the rest of the movie. Stretch wakes up and she hears Chop Top and LeatherFace, and she sneaks up on them and hides. Then LeatherFace starts skinning LT. And he cuts his face off and Stretch makes a noise and LeatherFace finds her. But since he's infatuated with her, he decides to take LT's face and put it on hers. Then LeatherFace ties her up and leaves her there. And LT wakes up and he helps her escape. Jesus, is this guy ever gonna die? But he does eventually, and she puts his face back on him. Stretch manages to escape right into the area where the Sawyers are. It's only a matter of time before they see her run by. Then we switch over to Lefty, and this is probably one of the most ridiculous things about the movie. He comes across Franklin's remains in a wheelchair. Now, the movie can sell me on a lot of things, but if you leave South Texas after some major incident, you're not going to grab a bunch of corpses and things like that and take it to East Texas. It just absolutely makes no sense. But Lefty tells Franklin,
I'm here now. They can't do this.
well, you're wrong, Lefty, because when it comes to Franklin, I'm pretty sure they already did. Lefty goes ballistic with his chainsaw, and Stretch is running down the corridor, but she hears the chainsaw and thinks it's LeatherFace. So she turns back around, and who does she run into? LeatherFace. It doesn't take very long for the other Sawyers to catch up, and they mess with LeatherFace about him having a girlfriend, and then they knock her out. Now, if there's anything I really like about this movie, it's this scene, because it's a complete homage to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They have her tied up just like Sally was, and then they bring out Grandpa. This is another one of those unbelievable things, because Grandpa had to be like 1 billion years old in the first movie, and now he's even older. And they do the whole shtick where they kneel her down in front of him and try to get him to belt her in the head with a hammer. Then Lefty shows up and Drayton tries to bargain with him, but he's having none of it. And he ends up cutting Drayton right in the ass. Lefty frees Stretch, and then he has a chainsaw sword fight with Leatherface. Stretch gets ambushed by Chop Top, and then she has to fight for her life. Lefty gets the better of Leatherface in their chainsaw sword fight, and Drayton pulls a grenade out from Newman's dead corpse. Thanks to Grandpa, Leatherface is hit in the head, and Lefty wins the fight. Unfortunately for Drayton, he drops the grenade, and the entire place explodes. Of course, he did say,
You butt-cracker, you'll be the death of me yet!
Chop Top and Stretch are the only two to survive the explosion. As they make their way up these stairs, Chop Top follows Stretch up there and she takes the chainsaw from his grandmother's corpse. And he's frantic about the fact that she killed his grandmother. As she's trying to start the chainsaw, he's cutting her up, and then this happens. And that's how we end the movie, with her acting frantic with the chainsaw. She really liked riding that thing, I guess. So what do I think about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2? It's difficult to say. If you're a huge fan of the original, you're either going to be very happy with this or you're going to feel like you were slapped in the face. Dennis Hopper, Caroline Williams, and Bill Moseley all do a tremendous job. The movie was never meant to be taken serious. It was supposed to be a dark comedy. The problem is, it's not very funny. Sometimes it tries too hard to be serious, and sometimes it tries too hard to be funny, and neither one of them really work. It does have some redeeming qualities, though. It is definitely an homage to the original, and I appreciate all those scenes. My biggest problem is I feel like this was a missed opportunity because they really explore Leatherface's character, and I think if they had taken the subject matter more seriously, we could have got a very good movie out of this. If you're a huge Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan, I would recommend that you go see this, if nothing else for morbid curiosity. But if you like really serious horror stuff, I don't think you're gonna like this. If you like stuff like Evil Dead, this may be up your alley though. I can't in good conscience say go out and buy it, but I do recommend watching it. And hey, it had Leatherface fucking a girl with a chainsaw while he was pleasuring himself. What more could you possibly even want? So I'm gonna give the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 3 stars. So thank you guys for listening to the Derek Ruby Show, and I hope you're enjoying our Halloween month. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. And as always, have a good one, and I'll see you guys next time.